This is the Normandy beachhead shortly after D-Day. It has been fed by every type of landing craft, and by now many of them are in need of salvage, as you can see by this cluttered beach. Some of them have been broached by the surf, others left high and dry by the receding tide. In all such landings, LCILs will play a prominent part, both in establishing the beachhead and in supplying it later. In making the many beachings thus involved, the chances are that at some time or other, almost every LCI will be called upon either to help another one retract from the beach or be in need of assistance herself. This picture will show you the various ways to give and receive such help with the maximum speed and efficiency. But first, let's see how you probably got into such a spot. Some of the reasons for finding yourself stranded are easily avoidable, such as the common error of neglecting to pull back as your ship is loaded and its weight thus increased. For besides approximately 16 tons of human cargo, your troops may also bring several more tons of excess gear aboard. This added weight will naturally tend to make your bow settle harder on the beach, and can best be avoided by retracting a foot or so every 10 minutes. Another common mistake is the failure to check the tide tables and allowing the ship to stay beached too long while the tide is going out. But whatever the reason, let's say that here you are aground and you want to get off. Our stranded skipper has tried everything he knows, swinging the stern from side to side in an effort to free the bow, jerking on the stern anchor cable, pumping out any forward ballast, but he's still stuck. So he hoists a request for help. The special landing craft signal, meaning hard aground, goes up and is answered by the nearest LCI, which should, without further orders from the OTC, immediately go to the assistance of the stranded ship. In all such operations, there are certain standard methods of procedure. First, the towing ship is in charge of the operation, and the first thing the towing skipper does is check the wind at the shoreline. Except in isolated cases of extreme opposing current, the approach should be made from upwind, as your ship, when anchored, tends to ride with the wind. The towing ship will station an anchor party at either the bow or stern anchor as required. The watch, quarter, and station bills should provide definite stations to be manned and specify what gear is to be broken out for salvage operations. In cases where there is only slight surf, the towing operation can be performed better if the stranded ship is requested to take in her stern anchor, thus allowing the towing ship to make a clean approach. And now we're ready for the actual operation. There are 4 standard methods of assisting an LCI which is hard aground in retracting from the beach. For cases such as this, where only slight assistance is needed, towing side by side is the easiest method. The anchor is let out well beyond the breaker line, using at least 100 fathoms of stern anchor cable. In this, as in all towing operations, the use of an anchor is necessary, not only in the salvage operation itself to furnish extra pulling power, but it has the more important function of holding the towing ship in position. Without an anchor out, the towing ship might tend to broach or drift out of position. Notice that the long, straight approach on the windward side has allowed the towing ship to be set down alongside the stranded ship in ideal position. She then beaches gently beside the stranded ship, working her bow in close as she beaches. The 1 line and the 4 line are put directly across as breast lines. While the forward lines are being doubled up as an added precaution against undue strain, the towing ship swings her stern alongside that of the stranded ship by using power and full rudder, assisted by the 4 line, which can be put on the gypsy head and heaved around on if necessary. The 2 and 3 lines are crossed to provide forward and after springs and a bight run out on the 3 line. This bight should be particularly well secured and closely tended, as it takes almost the entire towing strain. And now, before power is applied to retract the ships, the engine room is told to begin towing procedure. This means that on all the following engine orders, the throttles will be advanced more slowly than under normal circumstances, so that there will be less strain put on the lines. With the captain of the towing ship in charge, both ships use their engines simultaneously and back off the beach together. The stranded ship using all back full, while the towing ship works up power more gradually. As the strain is taken by the towing ship, she also starts heaving around on her stern anchor cable, surging on it in quick pulls if necessary. All line handlers carefully tend their lines to be certain that the strain is equalized on all doubled-up lines. Don't expect immediate results. It's the continuing strain that will finally get the stranded ship moving. Once the stranded ship is afloat, both ships stop their engines and are taken out by the towing ship's stern anchor cable. The ships remain together until the towing ship houses her stern anchor and maneuvers the two ships as a nest to get their bows into the wind so that they may be more easily separated. To separate the ships, let go all lines except number 4. The towing ship goes ahead slowly with the 4-line taut. This, plus the action of the wind from ahead, will tend to separate the bows of the two ships. Then the 4-line is cast loose, and the towing ship clears her stern by using inboard rudder, while the stranded ship stands clear on a steady course. The maneuver over, the order is now given to secure towing procedure, which means that the engine room will answer bells in the usual manner. And the ships proceed on their respective ways. Towing by the bow is done when space or surf does not permit towing side by side, and where a heavy pull is not needed. The towing ship stops off her bow anchor, attaches a messenger to the chain about 3 feet aft of the shackle, and bends a heaving line on the messenger. As the towing ship approaches, the stranded ship posts a detail to go to the fantail to receive the towing ship's line. On the con, the captain of the stranded ship informs his exec that he is... Uh-oh, it's the same skipper. He seems to be having a little trouble today. A pelican hook is shackled into the stranded ship's stern towing pad and laid open to receive the shackle on the end of the towing ship's cable. The winch is prepared for heaving in the messenger and cable, and a man is stationed with a boat hook should the heaver make a near miss. The towing ship continues her approach, coming in slightly upwind to heaving line distance. Work in as close as possible, depending upon surf conditions. With your anchor out, if possible collision threatens, you can check or hold your anchor cable. As soon as a heaving line is over to the stranded ship, the towing ship should disengage her clutches and not use her engines anymore until she's ready to tow the stranded ship free. Don't worry about drifting. With the towing cable fast, heave around easily on your stern anchor cable. This puts a strain on both stern anchor cable and towing cable, and as the slack is taken out of the towing cable, it will put the towing ship directly astern of the stranded ship. Thus, your ship will end up in ideal towing position, which is a straight line from the towing ship's stern anchor cable to the bow of the stranded ship. On signal from the towing ship, both ships back their engines simultaneously, and the towing ship heaves around on her stern anchor cable. As before, the stranded ship uses full backing power, while the towing ship applies gradually increasing power until the stranded ship is afloat. As soon as the stranded ship is clear and out of danger, she hoists the one-letter towing signal as contained in the International Code of Signals. She casts off the tow line and stands clear while the towing ship houses her anchor and brings in her tow line. And our troubled skipper is once again clear to resume his duties. Towing a stranded ship off the beach with the stern anchor cable is the best method to use when it isn't possible to work right alongside the stranded ship. For this method, the towing ship should make a long approach from the stern and slightly to leeward of the stranded ship. On the stranded ship, the captain sees to it that a detail is posted to receive the... What? Again? Well, this doesn't seem to be his day. All right, Captain, how did it happen this time? Okay, so it wasn't your fault. When about 3 lengths away, the towing ship starts a hard turn to windward. The approach from the leeward side and the turn to windward is made so that when a turn is completed, the towing ship's position will be upwind of the stranded ship. After completing the turn and placing herself astern of the stranded ship, her bow pointed seaward and upwind, she drops her bow anchor with anchor buoy and backs down close to the stranded ship, paying out the bow anchor cable as she backs. The distance between 2 ships is always deceiving from the con, so the executive officer on the fantail should advise the skipper when the ships are within line-throwing distance. Meanwhile, the towing ship has stopped off her stern anchor and attached a messenger to the stern anchor cable. If using a line-throwing gun, the gunner's mate should fire it and should aim well over the other ship so that there's no chance of the weight hitting anybody or the line going wide of its objective. With the line across, the towing ship then holds its bow anchor cable. During this, the towing ship has drifted downwind. So after the towing cable is made fast, the towing ship lets about 30 fathoms of her stern anchor cable pay out, holds it, and heaves around on the bow anchor cable to warp herself into ideal towing position, which again is a straight line between the bow anchor of the towing ship and the bow of the stranded ship. The strain is taken up gradually, and then both ships use their engines simultaneously to float the stranded ship. As soon as she is clear, the stranded ship stops her engines and the towing ship tows her out to a safe position. The towing continues until the stranded ship advises the towing ship that she is casting off the tow line. The towing ship then stops her shafts to prevent fouling the screws until the towing cable is brought in. The quarter-to-quarter towing procedure should be used only where there is little or no surf and where there is deep water back at least to the conning station of the stranded LCI. This is the most difficult towing maneuver, but also the one with the greatest pulling power. The stranded ship has a sea detail posted to receive the lines. And in the con, yes, that's right, we find our old friend ready to hand in his bars. Oh, take it easy, Captain. This is only a training film. The approach is made, and the bow anchor dropped exactly the same as in the stern tow. But instead of standing clear and heaving a line over, the towing ship backs down far enough to tie up her quarter directly to the quarter of the stranded ship. To do this, the towing ship leads her number 4 line to the stranded ship's number 3 bits. And as soon as that line is over, the towing ship stops all engines and disengages the clutches, holding the bow anchor cable. Then, by putting the 4 line on the stern winch gypsy head and heaving around on it, the quarters of the 2 ships are brought together. Small lengths of cable are passed back and forth between the ships, leaving a small amount of slack so that these cables can take up with a jerk if a sharp pull should be needed to free the stranded ship. The cables should be equalized in length so that they will all take an even strain. The towing ship then heaves around on her bow anchor and goes all ahead full, while the stranded ship backs all full. This not only exerts a powerful pull, but builds up a bank of water under the bow of the stranded ship. It also tends to wash out the sand from under the bow of the stranded ship. If the stranded ship is still held fast, the towing ship can stop her engines for a second and then go ahead abruptly, causing the cables to take up sharply, thus perhaps breaking the sand suction on the bottom of the stranded ship. When the stranded ship has cleared the beach, the towing ship houses her bow anchor, and the 2 ships each go ahead on their engines to clear each other. The same procedure can be used with 2 towing ships, one on either side of the stranded ship, if a heavier strain is needed. This may be a mechanical age, but the lowly shovel can still come in handy at times. So try digging before you give up hope. You'll be surprised how effective the 5 shovels in the ship's combat packs can be. But most valuable of all, if available, is the tractor or bulldozer. It has a terrifically strong pushing power and can often bodily shove a stranded LCI off the beach. or it can be used in combination with any of the towing procedures you've just seen. To prevent damaging either the bow of the ship or the front of the bulldozer, it's well to lash a large piece of lumber across the front of the bulldozer. For towing at sea, the towing vessel makes a long parallel approach. On the con, the captain of the disabled vessel, our old friend, but this is a different skipper. What happened to the other one? Well, profiting by his mistakes, he is now the towing ship and feeling more like John Paul Jones every minute. The towing ship should maintain its course, and as it passes, a line is heaved or shot aboard, bending the end of it to the messenger. For extended towing, it's better to rig a towing bridle and acquire a towing cable of at least 1 1/4 inch size. However, the stern anchor cable can be used in emergencies, as here. In getting over the messenger for the tow line, go by the stranded ship at a slow speed until your stern is well clear of her bow. Then back down and lie to until the towing cable has been brought aboard by the stranded ship. The disabled vessel fastens the towing cable to its bow anchor by means of a shackle. As the towing ship goes ahead slowly, the disabled ship pays out approximately 50 fathoms of her bow anchor cable, checking it out a little more slowly than the towing ship goes ahead, to keep a slight strain on the line at all times. The towed ship will then have way on by the time the cable is held. The towing ship also pays out about 50 fathoms of stern anchor cable slowly and commences her tow. The anchor, riding in the bight between the two ships, acts as a catenary and prevents the towing cable from taking a quick jerk and snapping. The disabled ship assists with whatever power she is able to develop and keeps a helmsman stationed to assist in keeping the disabled ship in the track of the towing ship. Both ships maintain special sea details by the towing cable in case of emergency. In combat especially, as these pictures show, you'll want to clear the beach quickly when your job is done. So whether you are the towing ship or are stranded yourself, you will save not only time, but possibly lives as well by learning the towing methods you have just seen. Practice them until you've got them down pat. Someday, they'll pay off.